they could just be taken so poorly by people. I mean, it's one of those things where you say those two things to anybody who doesn't even know you, and they want to murder you, probably, like on the spot.
Do they?
That would be my thought.
Murder? Speaking of hate content and rage, murder?
Next level rage.
I don't know that people, well, maybe we'll find out. Hey, click below and take the diagnostic and let me know if you want to murder me by my statement.
We should offer that at the end of the episodes. We should be like, okay, if you want to grow your business, here's that link. If you want to vote on whether or not you want to murder Sean, here's a separate link just for you. We're collecting votes all month.
Please, if there's enough of them, if we have to add that line as a standard line, and then so what are your pains? What are your problems? How do you feel about these different metrics? On a sliding scale, we'll still do on the sliding scale. We want it to be easy for people. How much do you now want to murder one of these two?
Should we use numbers or like descriptive phrases? Like the knife is already in my hands.
Well, yeah, and it's like 0%.
I'm researching Hitman.
Second, does an incognito window allow me to search safely for local Hitman? Stu, you're already thinking ahead. You've already purchased rope and duct tape. And why use both? Just pick one. Just stick with one. Let's not be switching materials as we're, Anyway, see, we're helping them be more efficient already, and they still hate us and want to murder us. And then you can automate it so that once it's above a certain number, it automatically gets sent to our friends at the FBI. Let's do that.
There's something suspended above your head, and I just click a button.
What do you do about all the murder threats? No, Brandon's automated it. It's all about being efficient. The processes that you're most engaging with, we had to automate it.
Look at us go. I have to now say, because we've said the M word several times, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. We are not serious. Let's do this thing. Welcome back to The Ether, the show that disrupts the way you think about running your business. Join me, Brandon, and my co-host, Sean Delaney, the creator of What If, on today's episode. Our goal is to provide context around what we talk about so you have the clarity to cut through the noise and the confidence to grow and run a truly harmonious business. Let's jump in and take the next step to achieving business freedom. Welcome back into The Ether. We're talking metrics, we're talking measurements, we're talking murder. What? Okay, maybe we're talking about a lot of different things today. But yes, we're here to have fun. We're talking about the most important metrics to measure to grow your small business. Here's the 5 metrics you need to manage to grow your small business. Sean, let's let the people down right off the bat. How do you feel about that statement?
I feel like now I understand hate comments and the murderous rage that you're telling me some people feel at you. We've pretty much established
it's mostly me.
I'm pretty sure it's not you. I hate those. I hate that. How grotesquely, wildly dangerous a statement to say. I'm going to tell you, I don't even know your business. I don't know that would be like a doctor saying, here's the 5 things you absolutely need to do for your health. And then you say, okay, one of those would kill me. Oh, well, I didn't know you had a kidney issue. You didn't ask. So I don't like those statements. Those are clickbaity. Did you use another clickbaity title?
Obviously, that's how we get people here. But it also, it makes me smile a little bit. Again, I love a good clickbait title.
Root cause analysis on the murderous rage. We just found it. It's okay.
It's all me. It's self-inflicted wound.
Love it.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we're not going to do that. We are not going to tell you what are the most important metrics to measure to grow your small business, but we will also tell you what they are by asking the right questions. We'll give you the tools to find out what those metrics are for you. That, to me, is way more powerful than just spewing out garbage. And here's a fun fact. This is how I kind of know whether or not somebody is an expert in their field or even is worth listening to. It happened to my wife last night. I know we've used this example before, but she expressed she had a problem going on. She was in a small group of other moms, and immediately they start solving the problem and providing solutions and all of this stuff. Not one person asked a single question about the context. And that's really what we're talking about here is when people just come to you and you say, oh, I have a lead problem, I have a marketing problem, I have a sales problem, whatever it may be, and you just vomit information at them, you don't have the ability to understand the context and really help them in that situation. You kind of just look like an idiot. And we don't want to do that here on the show.
No, I think we do want to look like idiots on the show.
But it's on purpose. It's designed, right?
No, that's the difference. My stupidity is on purpose. All right. So let's get at it. Let's do this. Are we talking about questions in the diagnostic? When we say we want people to be thinking about how to think about their metrics, and we will, when we do a show around analysis, which is how we think about metrics, it's the essence of metrics is really the best set of numbers. The dashboard with all the lights and bells and whistles on it mean nothing if you don't have any context around it. I don't know. Well, that's flashing red. Should it be flashing red? I don't know. How about that fast? I don't know. Maybe the faster it flashes is better. You're sitting in a hospital with you're all hooked up to things, and some things are beeping and some things aren't. An alarm's going off somewhere, and nobody seems to reacting to it. They're like, which one of these noises is going to get somebody up out of a chair? Have you forgotten me in here? This one beeps every 30 seconds. And it just, is that like cha-ching, cha-ching? That's what it sounds like to me. Cha-ching, what's it counting? Oh, just
probably, yeah. The dollars that they're going to put on your invoice. That's a difference.
So it doesn't matter I'd rather you have no metrics. Can you imagine this statement? I'd rather you have no metrics than spend the time, money, and energy on collecting 100 metrics that you can't understand. So we're going to do that later when we talk about the essence of it is analysis. Do you know how to take it, understand it, and do something with it? But today we're not talking about that. What are we talking about?
We're going through the 5 questions.
Let's do it.
Analyze.
These are the 5 questions in Analyze. I guess we kind of are then. I'm still thinking order, which is another big one. But okay. So we're talking analysis. So that is like the essence of analysis of metrics is how to understand and then do something with them. So what are these questions that we use when we first meet somebody to say, before I ask you for your metrics, are you going to know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then just because you said it, you said how to understand what to do with them. That's also going to spill over into next week, which is our discipline of modify or change management. So that'll be a whole separate episode. Wherever you're listening to this or watching this, it is the literal next one in the playlist. So just go check that out. But yes, 5 questions of Analyze. It's on our BAD diagnostic. We toss that up on the screen. If you haven't taken it, haven't heard of it, go ahead, look at them, take the diagnostic yourself. But yeah, let's go through the 5 questions of what we would ask somebody around
whatif.com/clarity.
That's a different download, but I'll put it up here anyway. Yeah. So that's actually going to show you the path to understand this and get your time freedom back over the next 90 days. If you want to go through the whole thing and skip ahead and fully understand how to read the diagnostic, go there. whatif.com/clarity. You get a 3-part video series with it. Hugely beneficial. So go do that. But question 1, let's dive in. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Question 1 is, it's a statement. We manage our output with leading indicators. And then you define what that is, of course. So measures that are early indicators of performance and output. Oh, I get so much pushback on this question when I do bad reports with people.
Why? Talk about that. Why?
Because I say to people, so we go through it and I say, do you manage your leading, or do you manage your output with leading indicators? And they're like, yes, I manage my, I do a P&L review every month. I look at the cash flow in the bank and the sales that I make and the whatever, the emails that come in. And I'm like, those are all lagging measures. So can we just real quick identify what a leading indicator is? And almost nobody has leading indicators that I talk to in business. I'm not saying that nobody in business has them, but people who take this diagnostic who I've spoken to, very rarely do they have leading measures. And then even more rarely do they manage by them.
And if they do have leading indicators, it's by accident.
Mm-hmm.
They have a mishmash of them. They don't understand that some of the numbers they're looking at are aggregate numbers, and you can't really directly affect that number. And I love this. I was working with a Fortune 50 company where I went to was looking at what they were going to do relative to strategic planning. And it had been the sort of the same rinse and repeat every year. And I said, okay, we're going to go in there and we have limited resources. We're going to pitch a whole bunch of fixes. We know the big numbers we want to move. Does anybody know what comprises those? And I'm talking to the finance and some other areas, right? They weren't all, their measures weren't even all together and linked in the same way because they didn't think that they were linked in the same way. But this is like somebody saying, well, I'm a cardiologist, so I'm concerned about blood pressure. But you as the kidney doctor, you wouldn't care about that. No, I don't care about that. What do you mean you don't care about that? Like, that would be a terrible doctor. Of course you care about it. There should be some metrics that you each care about, even though it's not specifically your discipline, right? So they didn't understand that level of it. But my point on the leading indicators was there's some things that are down here that if I turn this 3 cranks to the left, I could change this number by 2 degrees. But if I wanted to do it with this axis or this dial, I'd have to crank it 117 times in order to get that same lift. So what's the real number we're trying to change? Well, that aggregate number. Right, so let's do a project that's going to turn this 3 times instead of this 117 times. Wow, well, that would make it a lot easier. That would make it a lot easier, wouldn't it? Because we just keep throwing projects at both, in equal measure and money, yes, and we don't get the same result. No. So now that's evident. So, but you're right. They say I have indicators. I think they're leading indicators. Of course, I have leading indicators on my health. I get on the scale and it tells me I'm 170 pounds. No, that's not a leading indicator. Well, that's the one I'm trying to change. Yeah, but how many times did you go to the gym? Well, I don't know, 4 or 5. Was it 4 or 5? How long was it? About 20 minutes, the same thing, everything. How much of that time was you hanging around by the water fountain because that girl with the spandex pants is doing a yoga class? Well, that might have been 2 minutes. No, it was 11 and a half minutes, you pervert. Get back on the treadmill. Let's measure. The leading indicator is how many times did you eat clean? How many times did you drink all your water? I don't know what the metrics are around weight loss. Clearly, take a look at me. But you can understand that there are measures that will add up to that measure that is the one you're trying to drive, yes. But if you're measuring by the time you've already hit the scale, that's like measuring your business by customer satisfaction. Yes, that is the ultimate score. But that's not how you manage your business. It's too late by then. There are early indicators for satisfaction and every other thing that you're trying to achieve with your business. So leading indicators. So right there, that question, it's number 1, Brandon, for a reason. And yes, that is the first giant divergence that maybe you can just grab somebody and say, I don't know if we have to read the rest of these measures if you're telling me you don't understand this question.
Yeah, which leads into the second one, which I'll read in a minute. But a good way to think about it, because I get this question because they push back. They're like, okay, well, if I'm managing based on my sales, my revenue, and you're saying that's not a leading indicator, it's a lagging indicator. How do I find out what the leading indicator is? And it's pretty simple. You just ask what would affect this number. And if you can continue to answer that question, those are closer to, if not the final leading indicator. So if you say, we'll just use a stupid example, I can send 50 emails a day, and that will then result in this number of sales in 2 weeks. That is your leading indicator, not the sales. So you can manipulate that number to affect an output. That's a leading indicator versus just managing sales. Same thing with the gym. What can I do? How many minutes on the treadmill can I walk? How many glasses of water? If I can manipulate the number on the scale, it's lagging. What manipulates it is leading. So simple way to just delineate between the two types of indicators.
And a better question, now this is assuming that their processes are lined up appropriately so that you know if you're trying to change this metric here, you're not going to have a negative effect on other measures because you're understanding what processes are tied to those measures. So, but that's not what we're talking about today. So a better way to ask the question then, or even better, is what things do I control that my customer cares about that will move these numbers? That way, you know that you're still focused on the value delivery and you say, well, I'm trying to change this number. I know that leads affect that. So I'm going to be louder, or I'm going to get better messaging to reach the people who desperately need my solution. That's a little more refined thing that we're going to try to change in order to affect that metric, because we're customer facing, customer centric, value delivery thinking first. There certainly will be enough inward facing processes that you might need to touch in order to affect some of your measures. But the first question should be about the customer. That way we know we're not going to do any harm when we start tinkering around with things.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in order a little bit. So a couple episodes ago, you can go check that out. But yeah, so 9 times out of 10, we don't need to go to question 2, but we're going to go there anyway, because we're going to give you all 5 questions. But does our business use this information to make changes that will improve performance? So that would be referencing question 1 about managing our output with leading indicators. So talk to me about this question.
So this is the next disappointing one. That if we get through the first hurdle and someone says, oh yeah, we've got leading indicators and here they are, I know the difference. I took a course on KPIs and I go, oh yes. And so how long has this one been read? They say weeks. We call it all red around here. Like we've never, it's been years, never changed that. Oh, like, so now I know why you're here, because the metrics, or we've worked with clients who've said, especially at the institutional level, and say, like, how long has this been bad? And they go, don't worry, if you don't like it, just wait. In 6 months, that'll be the good one, and this will be the bad one. It's all just cycles of crap around here. Oh, right. So sad. So the first is, are you measuring things in the appropriate time? Do you have a level of sophistication around how you think about your metrics, that they're actually useful? You're not just looking at all lagging indicators, telling the story after it's done. We're actually going to put you in a position to use them. Now, the next question is, okay, do you use them? Is that what creates change? I'm also tapping into here a little bit. Do we have a leader at the helm who change initiatives are launched because of what they had for breakfast that day? And it's like, well, Carol, she's a little flighty and she jumps from thing to thing. We're doomed here too. So they say, well, no, we don't use the metrics for anything. We print them out and then we put them in a shoebox under Gary's desk. And then once a month, I think he just incinerates them. I don't know what he does. We've run into that plenty of times too. So first is, how sophisticated are we? Are we putting ourselves in a position to do something with the metrics? Second one is, are we actually doing something?
Yeah. So I love this question because, well, when we talk about change, which we're not talking about this week, we'll talk about next week. This is where we're going with that question. And we're talking to small business owners, entrepreneurs, and most of the time it's that, oh, look, squirrel type, where it's like, we say, oh, why did you implement this software program? Or why do you do this marketing thing? I'm like, oh, because I saw it on social media. I liked it. It felt good. I'm like, so there you have a whole measurement system, but we didn't use any of that to determine if it was a good time to change?
No.
I absolutely love that answer.
No. Well, yeah, it's summer. I like to do those kind of projects over the summer.
Yeah.
That is, I guess, so your leading indicator is the calendar?
Yes.
Or is it more the weather? Like, we're not going to necessarily go by the calendar. We're going to go by when it starts getting warm out. What is the metric? I want to know if it's thermometer or calendar. Well, when you say it that way, it sounds stupid. No, sounded stupid at the start.
Just all right. Question 3, which kind of we're hinting at here, and we've said this earlier. We use scorecards and dashboards so we can quickly understand how our business is operating. So kind of the same thing. Like when we talk to a business owner and they're like, look at all these metrics I have, look at this beautiful dashboard I have. And then the next logical question is, awesome, what are we measuring here?
Yeah.
And everything or nothing are the typical answers.
Well, and we're punching around at this to sort of hem them in and get the full picture, rather than, I don't know, ask it in a different way and more head on and have them tell us what we want to hear. So the first is, do you really think about them in the right way and your position in the right place? Are you doing something with it? And then the next one is about the scorecard specifically, because now I want to know if you're making it easy. Is it easy to pull the data? Because I've worked with some people, I go, this is great. This is everything you need to manage. Yeah. And this is super easy. Oh, no. Brandon spends 3 hours putting this report together, and he's got to wait for Susan to do her part, and then we wait for the oh my God. And so you're getting it 2 weeks too late. Yeah, I can't actually do anything with it because by the time we put it together, it's not useful. So now we're starting to say, do you have some kind of dashboard, some kind of quick and easy indicator? I'm talking 1 minute managers kind of thing. I'm talking, and you can make them look beautiful. Oh yeah, we've heard that. Well, this one looks nicer. I love style. I like the way things look too, but we cross that bridge when we get to it. We're not there yet. I don't care how it looks if it's not easy and not understandable and not in the point in time where it's effective.
Yeah. So here's a good question. Mixed reviews on this one. Question 4, do we share our key metrics with our employees?
Now, yes, they push back on this. We do. And isn't it interesting when they do? Think about all the things that we discover on the sly because of the way this is worded. Because yes, there are. And Brandon, what do you feel when that happens to you? When they go, tell my employees, they don't need to know how much we're making. That's a different answer than well, I tell them the things that they're measured on. I'm going to tell them that. There's some stuff I don't tell them. It's a different answer. And then there's well, yeah, I tell them everything because, well, they all share everything. And so they all know what each other's making and they all know what I'm making. And they know the finances and the numbers better than me. We've gotten that answer. That's sort of 3 on the spectrum, which is I share too much. And now it feels like it's everyone's company. So yay. That's a disaster. Those never work out. There's I don't tell those people anything. The rank and file. Tell them what we're eating up here. All right, well, I guess it would be more way out now where they're eating up there, as opposed to, oh no, we wouldn't share that with them. But I hardly think they'd even understand it. That's not what we're talking about either. So what we're hoping the answer is that yes, if Brandon is measured by these 3 metrics, they're shared with him all the time. He knows how his job affects them. He can draw a direct line from the things he does today, the projects he's working on, his day-to-day activities, and those metrics. And we review them, and we share them. And he knows how that contributes to the overall mission, vision, and our goals in general. And then, of course, I don't share sensitive data on the following 5 topics. Beautiful.
Yeah, totally fair. But it's about
if it's never shared, if it's a black box, if nobody knows how we're doing, we're running a race. We never check in. This is my problem with the end of soccer games. It drives me nuts. Because my extended family is huge into soccer. And I'll go and it's at the end of the game, we're all holding hands. How much time's left? Oh yeah, nobody knows. What do you mean nobody knows? I mean, nobody knows how much time is left. Now I'm sure there's a way to figure it out, but it's certainly not telling me. It's like it's extra time. How much extra time? I think it's that one guy down there wearing that one vest. He's got a whistle. He's figuring it out. When can I know? When everybody else knows. No, this is too nerve-wracking. How do you compete in a game when you don't know how long it is? How do you do that? How do you regulate your energy levels and how do you know the gravity of the situation? I don't feel like I know. I feel like I've lost agency here. I don't know which play is going to work. I don't know if it's a desperate move. I might have taken the shot and I don't know how much time was left. That's great in a game. It's great in a game. I understand what it does for the game. Not for your employees in a day-to-day business. Are we getting there? Are we going to hit the holiday order? We'll see. But doesn't my bonus depend on it? So what should I do? I guess panic. I don't know. It's exhilarating. Let's see. We're not counting any t-shirts. We're just printing them out as fast as we can. Just go, everybody go. Go. Should I get sloppy? Is speed the only thing? I don't know.
It's such a great analogy. I never thought about it like that. Oh, I love it. Okay, so how do you feel about that one? I think we know how you feel about that one. All right, question 5. Last question.
Yeah.
Our metrics are used to drive future strategies for the business. So on the surface, my first question is, we kind of asked this in question 2. Why are you asking it twice in a different method? What are you trying to get at here?
What I'm trying to get at here is there's the day-to-day. The metric went red. Pull up. Right, I'm in the plane. I'm in the cockpit. Oh, that's the one that says, let me see. I'm getting older. I think it says beep, 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 beep. Hold on. Beep, beep, beep. Pull up. Oh my God. Pull up. That is a different reaction to, hey, it's strategic planning time. Let's now, instead of saying, is it time to get to that fun project I really wanted to do? Because I've been dying to do it. Brandon, we have a couple of them teed up. We're dying to work on them. It's not the time. Why? The metrics say so. And so now I'm trying to see, it's the longer term. Are you using your metrics to drive what should be the next thing? This is why we also say to people, okay, I know you're a marketing wonk. Let's just say that that's who we're talking to. You're a marketing person. You want to talk marketing. You want to talk marketing to marketers at marketing conferences. You want to do all that marketing stuff. So take the bad and we'll talk about what we're going to work on. Because left to your own devices, you're going to try to talk me into we should just spend time playing in the place where you feel comfortable and not tackling the disciplines that you don't want to do. And so let's take the bad, because now I have a metric, right? You could want to work on all kinds of things with your health. But if I say, yeah, but your cholesterol's through the roof, so we got to do some dietary changes. I don't want to do that one right now. I know you don't. But this is why you're going to do it. It gives you something to talk about when you're making the decisions. Where are we going to strategically outlay our limited resources of all kinds on these next projects to improve? We're going to do it based on what the metrics tell us to do. The math is the path.
That's right. And now we have metrics and we know why we're looking at them and we know what they affect in our company. Now we can change things. Now we can actually make good change, not squirrel ADHD change. We don't want any more of that.
And with much less stress, because we know we're digging in the right place.
That's right. So those are the 5 metrics you need to manage in your small business to grow. Just kidding. But hopefully you start to think about your metrics a little bit differently and ask yourself those questions, and then also spend a lot of time on the first one. That's what I'm going to encourage people listening is figure out what those leading indicators are in all the different areas of your business, and don't over measure. Like pick 3, pick 5, test it out, manage them, and see if then once you have some data, then you can go make a change. Don't start building dashboards and measure 100 different things. You'll go crazy.
With all the things that you have to do you really need to overcomplicate this right now? No. Listen to Brandon. Take the bad. Figure it out. And we'll help you do it. Let's go, Brandon. Don't we have a room?
We got people to see. We're leaving you here on the ether, but we'll see you next week. We're talking about modify and change management. This was awesome. Go look at your numbers. See ya.